So next we are going to see hypothesis testing. So what is hypothesis testing? It is testing in Six Sigma methodology where to agree or disagree a prediction that has been found in any process. So what is a prediction? It can be a statement, whether we are going to agree on the statement or not. So we are going to prove that statement is correct or not. Now, there are two types of hypothesis. The first one is null hypothesis. And the second one is alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis says that the prediction is correct. We represent in H0. Alternative hypothesis says that the prediction is not correct. We say it is HA. Now, for example, the standard deviation of the below data is 1 mm in the sample data collection. So in the sample data collection, my standard deviation is 1 mm. You can see here. So in the example, based on the sample, we say that sigma is 1 mm. This is my statement. What is the statement? I'm telling the standard deviation is 1 mm. Okay, now in order to prove that, we have conducted HA. What is that HA? Alternative hypothesis. In order to prove it is not, it is standard deviation is not 1 mm. So now alternative hypothesis and collected data for the entire batch and calculated the actual sigma, and the result is 3.02 as a sigma. See what you have done. Now the statement is telling the sample standard deviation is 1 mm. We are going to prove that it is not 1 mm. It will be more than that, or it can be less than that. That is the alternative hypothesis. So what is H0? H0 is equal to standard deviation is 1 mm. Now what we have done, since this is sample data, we collected the data for the entire batch. When we calculate the standard deviation, then it has come 3.02 mm. That means the standard deviation from the sample to the population, it has become 2 times. It has become 3 mm. Therefore, we say null hypothesis H0 is equal to 0. Alternative hypothesis HA is equal to 1. That means alternative hypothesis is correct. Then the statement is wrong. So this is a general term to do a hypothesis testing. So in the coming slides, we'll do in the Minitab, taking a real time data, or we calculating the data in the Minitab, and see how, based on what condition, we are going to accept the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. So next, let us see sample size. Sample size for doing analysis. So there are various types of analysis. So at the default, more than 30 parts data is required in order to predict something. So the lesser the data, we make lesser the different distorted conclusions. For doing CPCB calculation, we need minimum 30 data, maximum 100 data. Subgroup is independent. You can take 5, you can take 10, whatever it is. Okay. Now correlation, 30 set each. That means for x and y we need 30 set each. Minimum 30 data and maximum 100 data we can take. So the subgroup here is also independent. Histogram minimum 30, maximum 100. Subgroup is independent. X bar R chart, minimum data 30, maximum data 100. Subgroup is independent. Other statistics analysis also you can take more than 30. So this is an example of sample size that can be taken for different analysis. So next, let us go for CPK. First, let us see CP. CP is known as process capability. CP is defined as the process capability, and the CP value states that the percentage that we are consuming the tolerance for the Six Sigma variation. More than 2 CP is a good process. So this is a formula for CP USL minus LSL divided by 6 sigma. Now in this case, In the A, example A, I say CP, we say CP is good. In example B, we say CP is okay. Then here the CP is little bit, it will be very less in the example C. So here it will be very less because your standard deviation is more. Okay. Now let us see with an example. The formula for CP, as we told, is CP is equal to USL minus LSL divided by 6 sigma. So what is 6 sigma? It is a total variation that happens in the process. Now here, this is a specification. Lower specification limit is 3 mm, upper specification limit is 5 mm. Sigma for this particular example is 0.1 mm. Process average is equal to 4 mm. So let us assume this is the case one. Now, CP is equal to 5 minus 3 divided by 6 sigma. What is 5 minus 3? 2 mm divided by 6 sigma. See, what is 0.1 is a sample standard deviation. Why we are multiplying the 6 is, in production it will not be same, it will become 6 sigma variation. Therefore, we are multiplying 6 into 0.1. So it will become 0.6. So when you divide 2 by 0.6 is equal to 3.3. So the CP value is 3.3. This means we're able to divide the numerator 3.33 times. That means one, it will go for the 6 sigma variation, and another 2 is the extra you're able to divide. That means 3 times you are better. Let us plot in the graph. Now this is the standard graph. This is your 4 process. This is your 4 drawing mean. Drawing mean. This is your lower limit 3 mm, and this is 5 mm. 5 mm. Okay. Now what is the standard deviation? 0.1. Process average 4. Your process average and drawing average is overlapping. That is good. That is what is required. It's overlapping. From here, 0.1 mm positive side, 0.1 mm negative side. So you're going to connect it. It will come like this. So totally you have how much? 2 mm as a tolerance. But you're consuming only how much? 0.1, but 6 sigma variation 0.6. Therefore, your SCP is more than 3.33. That means you are consuming only in 2 mm, only 0.6 mm you are consuming. You are consuming only not even 30% of the tolerance. 70% you are safer. So this is about CP. So in the case 2, if you see the sigma is 0.5, okay, that means standard deviation is more, and still the process average is 4. It is overlapping with the drawing mean. Now what happens? You're getting 0.66. What is the meaning? Totally allowable tolerance itself is 2 mm, but your 6 sigma variation is 3 mm. Therefore, you're consuming more than required. Then it is not acceptable. That's why the value is less. So that is about CP. Now let us go for CPK. CPK is nothing but process capability index. CPK is defined as the process capability index, and the CPK value states that the how far each side of the data, lower and upper, is distributed from the drawing mean for 3 sigma variation. Now this is totally 6 sigma variation. This is totally 6 sigma variation, right? For the total tolerance, whatever is given, 6 sigma variation. 6 sigma variation. So CP we are calculating for the 6 sigma variation with the given tolerance. That is okay. CPK, what we are going to do is we are targeting the drawing mean. This is a drawing mean, and we are going to check how far each data is distributed positive side and negative side from the drawing mean. That means process mean, how far it is deviated from the drawing mean, we are going to check with the CPK. Now, more than 1.5 CPK is a good process. Let us see. Now, if you see positive side, the data is very near to the drawing mean. The negative side also data is very near to the drawing mean. Then therefore CPK will be good for this example A. Coming to example B, so from the drawing mean, data is spreading more towards the USL as well as more towards the LSL. This is somewhat caution. Now coming to C, from the drawing mean the data is distributed very near, touching the USL as well as LSL. Here the spread is more. In this case CP will also be less, CPK will also be less. Here it has gone out of spec itself. From the drawing mean the data is went out of spec, therefore the CPK will be less as well as CP will be less. Now the formula for CPK is CPK1, that is towards upper side, USL minus X bar divided by 3 sigma. USL minus X bar, that is drawing, that is process mean, minus the 3 sigma variation. Why 3 sigma variation? We are going to do separately for USL and LSL from the mean, from the process mean. Therefore the two formulas, in this whichever is minimum, that we are going to consider. CPK2 is equal to X bar minus LSL divided by 3 sigma, that is process mean minus lower spec, that we are going to divide with the 3 sigma variation. Then we'll get to know that how far the drawing mean has been shifted from the process mean. Let us see an example. Now in this case sigma is only 0.1 mm, process average 4 mm. Then this is the dimension, lower and upper limit. CPK1, that is upper side, 5 minus 4 divided by 3 sigma, it is 3.33. CPK2, 4 minus 3 divided by 3 sigma, it is 3.3. So therefore the the standard graph will come like this. This is lower limit, upper limit. So your process average is 4, that means it's overlapping with the drawing average, and it is very centered. So when CP is equal to CPK, that means equally it is distributing from the process mean. Or we can say when CP is equal to CPK, we can say that your drawing mean is overlapping with the process mean, or process mean is overlapping with the drawing mean with a lesser standard deviation. Then CP and CPK value will be same. Now let us see this. Examples. Now here, this is the lower specification limit and this is the upper specification limit. Your distribution is here. That means you are producing your process averages on the lower side of the specification, and you are producing undersize as well. Now if you see, CP will have a negative value. CP is greater than CPK. So here CPK will be less because from the midpoint you are deviated. Therefore here CP will be okay, CPK will be not okay. And this is the process width, 6 sigma variation. Sorry, not 6 sigma variation. This is the process width, that is nothing but the tolerance. Now in this case, if you see, from LSL to LSL to towards mean and USL it is spreaded, but still the process average having a deviation from the drawing average, or process mean is having a deviation from the drawing mean. Here spread is also more, therefore here CP will be also less as well as CPK will also be less. Now let us see this example. It has distributed from lower to the towards the mean. Now CPK will not be good because your process average is away from the drawing average or drawing mean, and sigma is okay. Your CP sigma is less here. Your CP will be good in this case. Now coming to this example, it has went towards USL and above USL also. Here it is very far away from the drawing mean. Your process mean is far away from the drawing mean. Then CPK will also be less. CP also will be less. So in this case, exactly your process mean is overlapped with the drawing mean. Therefore, CPK will be equal to CP. CPK will be equal to CP. So this we can say is a good process. Now the target here is to achieve the drawing mean. That means your process mean should be equal to the drawing mean always, or more number of frequency of your process mean shall produce your drawing mean. Then we say it's a good process when it has a lesser variation or standard deviation. Now, so that is an example here. CPK, distance from the mean to nearest sec limit, distance from the mean to process edge. This is nothing but 3 sigma. This is nothing but your USL minus X bar, your USL minus X bar in case 1 and X bar minus LSL in case 2. Okay. So same thing they are given here in the general formula. Your specification width divided by process width. The what is a process width? 6 sigma variation. Specification width is nothing but the tolerance. For the given tolerance, when you divide with the process width, how many times you are able to divide the numerator. Therefore, we can say it is a good process. Here, this is your spec width and this is your process width. So this is a good process. Here you are overlapping with the mean and it is a good process. Now if you see here, this is your lower specification limit and upper specification limit. In this case one, CP is 2, CPK is also 2. Therefore, it is exactly in the center. It is a good process. Here CP is 2, CPK is 1. That means you have lesser variation, but your process mean has shifted from the drawing mean. Say okay process. Here CP is 2, CPK is 0. That means you have lesser variation, but you're totally away from the drawing mean. Here CP is 2, CPK is minus 1. That means your variation is less, but you're very away from the drawing mean. So this is just an example of graphical representation of CP-CPK. So now we understood what is CP-CPK. It is nothing but in CP we are going to see for the given tolerance for 6 sigma variation how much percentage are consuming. Based on that we say there is a capability. That means there is a consistency. CPK is nothing but with the same consistency, how far your process mean is away from the drawing mean. The goal is your process mean should overlap with the drawing mean. So this is an explanation for CP-CPK. Now, calculate CP-CPK and plot the bell curve for the following data. So there are 12 examples. What they're telling is draw bell curve and calculate CP-CPK for the below data and say which is a good process. Now dimension is given, drawing mean is given, lower and upper specification, process mean they given, standard deviation they given. Now this we have plotted here CP-CPK. You can calculate this 12 example CP-CPK in a white sheet and plot the bell curve. That means this is a standard graph. For each example, say this is 3, this is 5, this is 4, drawing mean. So you plot the bell curve for each example so that you will understand when the values of CP-CPK is this much, what will be the process variation in graphical term. Okay. Now, so next we'll be seeing how we can create data in Minitab and calculate CP-CPK with an example.